Member Brookins,
Here.
Member Thomas,
Here.
Member Gordon,
Recording in progress.
Member Lester,
Here.
Member Sullivan,
Here.
Member Peterson,
Present.
Member Kathari,
Present.
Member Norgard,
Present.
Member Wagstaff,
Here.
Member Walker,
Present.
and Chair Yarber. Okay, thank you. You have a quorum. This meeting of the Sacramento Community Corrections Partnership is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.net. Today's meeting will replay Friday, December 3rd at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. In compliance with directives of the county, state, and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, this meeting is live streamed and closed to in-person public attendance. Temporary procedures are subject to change pursuant to guidelines related to social distancing and minimizing person-to-person contact. To make a verbal comment at today's meeting, dial 916-875-2500. That's 916-875-2500, and follow the prompts to be placed in queue for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter. Please refer to the agenda and/or watch the meeting to follow along to determine when is the best time to call to be placed in queue to make your public comment. You may be on hold for up to an extended period of time, and your patience is appreciated. The chair will ask the clerk to transfer calls into the queue accordingly. Each agenda item queue will remain open until the public comment period is closed for that specific item. Written comments are always accepted. Send your email comment to boardclerk@saccounty.net. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record, and we thank you again for your patience. That completes our announcements.
Make sure my mic is on. So good morning and welcome to everyone. I'm Marlon Yarber, Chief Probation Officer. Welcome to the December 2nd, 2021 special meeting of the Community Corrections Partnership. We have, I think, 3 agenda items as well as a public comment plan for today. We're talking about bylaws, I think some priorities for the future here, as well as teleconference applicability to the meeting. That said, why don't we jump in, and I will ask Catherine maybe to walk us through the first item that's on the agenda today.
Would you like me to read it into the record?
Oh, sorry. Please do that.
Okay, item 1 is approve amendments to the Community Corrections Partnership bylaws recommended by the CCP Advisory Board.
Good morning, everyone. I submitted a report basically summarizing the bylaw update recommendations from the CCP Advisory Board. At their November 8th, 2021 meeting, the CCP Advisory Board approved recommendations for amendments to the CCP bylaws to increase the frequency of meetings and to add the CCP Advisory Board as a standing committee for the CCP. Recommended amendments to the CCP bylaws include Article 5 meetings and Article 6 CCP Advisory Board, which describes the purpose and structure of the CCP Advisory Board, and the meeting section just increases the calendar from twice a year to every second month, beginning in February each year. The CCP bylaws amendments recommended are shown in the attachment that was provided. It's a draft version dated 12/2/21. And it's recommended that the CCP votes to approve amendments to the bylaws.
So thank you, Catherine. Let me ask if there are any questions among our partnership members today regarding the item.
Chair Yarber, if I may, we have one person that just joined our meeting. I want to identify, see if it's a board member or not. Could the individual that just joined the meeting with the last 4 digits of your phone number of 4229 identify yourself, please?
Good morning. This is Nina Acosta.
Okay, thank you. So let the record show that Member Acosta is present.
Excellent, thank you. So any questions as it relates to the item? Just noting that this will increase our meeting frequency. I do have a question myself. Are you able to tell me, is council on the line as well?
Yes, sir.
So question I have is in regards to Article 7 regarding the chair, and it references in instances where when the chair cannot attend the meeting, the vice chair will preside over the meetings. I just have a memory of myself in the prior role as assistant chief having chaired the meeting, but recognizing these bylaws are now coming into place. Is that accurate, or is there the potential that a designee from the chief probation officer would also be allowed to chair the meeting?
Chief, if you were not in attendance, it would be the vice that is the chair of the meeting. And if for some reason the vice was not available, then of the members present, if there was a quorum, they would select who would be the chair.
That is helpful, thank you. And then related to designees, are we aware of any other designees that have been formally submitted to this body for recognition for future meetings?
So are you asking, Marlon, if you have a designee as the chief PO, would that designee chair the meetings, or would it be the vice chair of the CCP?
Not just myself, but curious if others have already stated designees as well. But yes, to your question.
We do have designees for most members, but
Excellent.
I don't know if it's for all, but most we do.
Great, thank you. Hearing no other questions, I will entertain a motion in regard to the item.
Chief Yarber, we, for the record, we have no public comment on item 1.
Oh, excellent. Great, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the bylaws as amended.
Thank you. We've got a motion.
I will move to second that.
Have a second.
I'm sorry, I had Member Kathari with the motion. Who was the second?
Amanda Benson.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if it pleases the chair, I'll call the roll call vote. Okay, Member
Please do,
Acosta?
thank you.
Approve.
Member Benson?
Approve.
Member Brookins?
Approve.
Member Thomas?
Approve.
Member Gordon?
Aye.
Member Lester?
Approve.
Member Sullivan?
Approve.
Member Peterson?
Approve.
Member Kathari?
Approve.
Member Norgard?
Approve.
Member Wagstaff?
Approve.
Member Walker?
Approved.
And Chief Yarber?
Approved.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. So we will be seeing more of each other, just so that folks are aware. Important, though, as I do recognize, there's great public interest in our work. Segueing to our second item, I think, does speak to some of that interest and speaks to, I think, the structure that's in place now via the new bylaws as it relates to the advisory board itself. First, as we consider this item, let me first ask the clerk to read the item, and then I'll make a couple comments.
Item 2 is to approve recommendations from the Community Corrections Partnership Advisory Board for CCP priorities to submit to the county in the fiscal year 22-23 budget outreach feedback form.
Thank you. So just in the way of introduction, I think important that we, first I thank the county, the Board of Supervisors, obviously the county executive for this new process of generating ideas as it relates to our priorities as a system, but also as a county. And then second, really want to make sure I thank the advisory board themselves for generating the work. And that said, let me then turn to Catherine, if you would not mind walking us through the item itself.
No problem. At the October 7th, 2021 meeting, the CCP directed the CCP Advisory Board to develop recommendations for the boards and commissions fiscal year 22-23 budget outreach feedback form. At the November 8th, 2021 meeting of the CCP Advisory Board, they completed and voted to approve recommendations for CCP priorities to submit to the county in the fiscal year 22-23 budget outreach feedback form, and they are shown below. To align with priorities identified in the AB 109 plan for 2021 that was passed back in May, the update and further let me reread that. To align with priorities identified in the AB 109 plan 2021 update and further emphasize their importance. CCP priorities were drafted based on items in the Sacramento County AB 109 Plan 2021 Update Priority Recommendations, which are identified on page 5 of the plan, and content regarding those priorities throughout the plan. It's recommended the CCP vote to approve the CCP priority items listed below, and I'll just go through the 5 priority items, starting with item number 5. The first one being alternatives to incarceration focused on programs and services that embrace the principles of evidence-based practices. The second one being jail programs and services, health and mental health care and treatment. The third one being community supervision and services that support recidivism reduction and adhere to evidence-based risk, need, and responsivity principles. The fourth being benefit eligibility assistance, transitional housing, and jail discharge support. And the fifth one being AB 109 workload augmentation for criminal case processing that effectively addresses risk and needs of offenders realigned from the state to the county and to address any record modification mandates from the state.
Thank you for that, Catherine. Curious if there are any comments from any of our partnership members regarding this item.
Yes, this is Amanda Benson. I just wanted to also thank the advisory board. I know they put a lot of work into making these recommendations. Not only, the initial plan I know was a lot of work, but then the advisory board really spent a lot of time working through these to give us these recommendations. And I think it gives us a really strong framework that we can work together to tackle some of these problems. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Benson. Any other comments or questions? As I read through the priorities, I'm struck by the fact that several of them are broad enough that I think there's lots of room for innovation to occur. I'm also struck by the fact that none of those items, none of the priorities essentially could occur in a vacuum. I think they necessitate that we continue to work together better as a system and as departments. I also realize that there's some overlap amongst the 5, and just recognizing clearly that services and support seem to be a theme throughout. In addition to that, I think, as we go forward, it'll be important to share data as it relates to our effectiveness and identify really what is working and what is not working to inform, future efforts. Other comments at this time?
This is Nina Acosta. I just wanted to echo what you had said and also identify that we would really like to fold in some more of the victims into some of these alternatives and program and service development, as they have certain feelings about, on both sides of the fence, about the priorities and what that impact is going to be, particularly with like domestic violence victims and things like that, in terms of the programs and services and how they're going to ensure that people are actually benefiting or engaging in those programs. So I would just like to let that comment be known.
Thank you so much for keeping that topic on the radar. I think it is important and very relevant as well to this work and many other aspects of the work of the criminal justice and juvenile justice system, for that matter. Catherine, are you able to tell me just for a second, I assume in the generation of these 5 and whittling it down that there was likely a long list that contributed to the work, and was there any discussion around or difficulty, if you will, with the ordering of the priorities themselves?
The ordering of the priorities, I think, are pretty much basically what information was discussed at the advisory board and indicated to the advisory board where we need to focus. So I know Dr. Jeff Twishel is here if you'd like to ask him about the advisory board work. He's the vice chair representing them.
Thank you. Dr. Twitchell, any comments that you'd care to share as it relates to the process? And please approach the lectern if you would.
Yeah, I guess I would just say that the advisory board was relatively consistent in regards to the priorities. And as you said, services and evidence-based practices to make sure we're using data to sort of drive decision-making was really a theme throughout this, with services for individuals. I like the idea of victims being involved as well. And the thought is really, I think as Catherine said, not to be overly prescriptive. These are sort of areas of concern and are not unknown to the board by any means, but we don't want to become overly prescriptive with the CCP's authority.
That's excellent. Thank you for that context. And again, I do appreciate the sort of the broad nature of the priorities, as I think there's a lot of room to, again, both innovate as well as pursue best practices. That said, and if there are no other comments or questions, Clerk, are there any
No, sir.
public
No
comments on this item? There are none. Given that there are none, I will entertain a motion as it relates to the item.
This is Siobhan. I'm happy to make a motion to approve the budget priorities. as
Thank you.
outlined.
Thank you, Siobhan. Do I have a second?
I will second it. Amanda Benson.
Thank you.
I will call the roll. Member
you, Clerk.
Acosta?
Approved.
Member Benson?
Approve.
Member Brookins?
Approve.
Member Thomas?
Approve.
Member Gordon?
Aye.
Member Lester?
Approve.
Member Sullivan?
Approve.
Member Peterson?
Approve.
Member Cathari?
Approved.
Member Norgard?
Approve.
Member Wagstaff?
Aye.
Member Walker?
Aye.
And Chief Yarber.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Clerk, would you read the third item?
Okay, item 3, informational update regarding Board of Supervisors resolution authorizing a 30-day extension of remote teleconference meetings, including the Community Corrections Partnership for the period December 2nd, 2021 through January 1st, 2022, pursuant to the Ralph M. Brown Act.
Thank you. Catherine, would you walk us through the item?
Sure. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ralph M. Brown Act, known widely as the Brown Act, allowed teleconference options for meetings of local legislative bodies, but the requirements were very restrictive. Executive orders issued by Governor Newsom in response to the COVID-19 pandemic suspended the restrictive procedures for teleconferencing and allowed local legislative bodies to hold meetings entirely by teleconference. Those executive orders expired on September 30th, 2021. However, Assembly Bill 361 allows teleconference meetings to continue after October 1st, 2021, as long as certain conditions are met and public accessibility is maintained. While the Board of Supervisors regularly meets in person, many of its over 50 subordinate boards, commissions, and councils, including the CCP, meet remotely. Pursuant to the requirements of the AB 361, the board has adopted and reaffirmed a resolution to allow for continued remote meetings every 30 days. On November 16, 2021, the Board of Supervisors approved a resolution authorizing remote teleconference meetings for the period of November 17, 2021 through December 18, 2021 that allows the Board of Supervisors to meet remotely and, if necessary, while also allowing its subordinate boards, commissions, and councils, including the CCP, to continue to meet via remote teleconference. So it's just an informational item so that we have the authority through a resolution from the board to continue for those who cannot participate in person to participate remotely.
Thank you. Realize it does not require action. Any comments or questions from our partnership members?
Correct.
All right, I hear none. Clerk, are we ready for public comment?
There's no public comment on item 3, and item 4 is public comment on non-agenda items, and it does not look like we have any public or comments on non-agenda items at this point.
Excellent. That said, are there any other comments before we adjourn for today?
I would just like to remind everyone that the updated calendar based on the bylaws you passed today was included in the packet, so your next meeting will be February 3rd, 2022.
Thank you for that, Catherine. Other comments? Recognizing I'm joined by our interim public defender here in person today, as well as our chief financial officer. Thank you both for being here in person. Appreciate the company. It sometimes gets lonely here. That said, I believe we can adjourn for today. Thank you all.